We have this peculiar idea that the world rewards intelligence, depth, and thoughtfulness. But I don't mean the kind of intelligence that gets you a certificate or a polite applause at a graduation. I mean the kind of depth that makes you see through things, the patterns, the illusions, the games. And here's what nobody tells you. The moment you begin to think deeply, society quietly turns against you. Have you noticed that? Not in loud, dramatic ways, but in those subtle glances, the sudden distance, the way people become uncomfortable when you're simply being yourself. Do you ever feel like people want your silence more than your insight? Like your awareness threatens something they're clinging to? You're not imagining it. And that's exactly where our journey begins. You see, nobody teaches you this, but society isn't built to nurture the deep thinker. It's built to manage them, contain them, sometimes even break them, not out of cruelty, but out of fear. Because a mind that sees clearly is a mind that can't be controlled. You've felt this, haven't you? That quiet sense that you don't quite fit the script, that when you speak honestly, people shuffle, look away, or accuse you of being too much, too intense, or overthinking. And yet, inside, you know you're seeing something real, something important. But what if I told you that this tension you feel isn't a flaw of your personality? What if it's a sign of your awakening? Let's explore why society reacts the way it does, and why your depth is more powerful, more dangerous, and more necessary than you realize. There's something the ancient philosophers understood long before modern psychology attempted to explain the human mind. Plato spoke of it in quiet metaphors, as if whispering to those who could hear him. He said that once someone sees truth, they can never return to the cave. But, and here's the truly dangerous part, those still inside the cave will fear the one who sees the light. Do you feel that sometimes? Like you stepped out of the cave, but everyone else is still trying to drag you back into the shadows. As if your clarity disrupts the comfortable darkness they've learned to call home? This is where things start to make sense. A deep thinker doesn't simply hold information. You hold perception. You notice what others avoid. You question what others defend. You understand that the world often runs on illusions, social masks, unexamined beliefs, collective fears masquerading as norms. Most people don't want to look behind the curtain, but you've never been able to stop yourself, and that's why society reacts. Let's step into this slowly. Have you ever seen an actor on stage so lost in the performance that he forgets it's a play? Everyone else applauds, laughs at the right cues, gasps at the scripted danger. But then someone, whispers, "You know this isn't real, right?" Suddenly everyone turns, not because you're wrong, but because you've broken the spell. You've exposed the illusion they desperately want to believe in. Your presence alone becomes inconvenient. Deep thinkers don't break illusions out of malice. You do it because it's how your mind works. You ask inconvenient questions like, why are we doing it this way? Who benefits from this rule? Is this really the truth, or just the habit? And when you ask these questions, people feel something they rarely admit: panic. Because if they accept your insight, their entire world may need to be rebuilt. And rebuilding is far more frightening than remaining asleep. Think for a moment about muddy water. When it's shaken, everything becomes cloudy. But when it's allowed to settle, clarity returns. Your mind is like that, naturally settling, naturally clarifying. But most people aren't ready for clarity. They'd rather keep the water turbulent so the truth stays buried at the bottom. Your stillness threatens their chaos. And here's where it gets interesting. And people don't reject you because you're deep. They reject you because your depth reveals their shallowness. You don't make them uncomfortable. Their own hidden truth does. Your ability to feel deeply exposes numbness. Your ability to think independently exposes conformity. Your insight exposes their denial. You don't attack. But your presence can feel like a mirror people aren't ready to look into. That's why so many deep thinkers experience loneliness, not because they're unworthy of connection, but because connection requires others to meet you where you are. And very few are willing to climb that high. Do you know that feeling? That ache of being surrounded by people yet feeling spiritually alone? You start thinking something's wrong with you. But nothing is wrong with you. You're simply awake in a room full of sleepers. There's a moment in every deep thinker's journey when they realize they can't return to the old way of being. You can pretend, you can play along, you can bite your tongue, but it never lasts long because pretense drains you, and truth, real truth, keeps calling you back. But here's the twist. Society doesn't only misunderstand deep thinkers, it needs them. Every meaningful change in history was driven by someone who saw what others couldn't. Someone who refused the cave. Someone who noticed the stage lights and questioned the script. But, and this is the paradox, society needs the deep thinker while simultaneously fearing them. You can feel this tension in your own life. People come to you for clarity when they're lost, for comfort when they're hurting, for perspective when they're confused. But when things are normal, when the group wants conformity, when comfort is more valuable than truth, you become too much. You ever notice that? How you're both the lighthouse and the storm, both the healer and the threat. That duality is not a flaw, it's the mark of someone who sees. What Plato understood, and what most of society still doesn't, is that deep thinking has nothing to do with being clever. It has everything to do with being awake to your own motives, awake to the collective illusions, awake to the machinery of society, the invisible expectations, the silent agreements, the unconscious imitation we call normal life. And once you're awake, society doesn't know what to do with you. You're harder to manipulate, harder to guilt, harder to intimidate, harder to distract. You can't be controlled the same way others can. And that is dangerous, not dangerous to you. Dangerous to the systems built on unquestioned obedience. A deep thinker doesn't revolt violently. You revolt quietly, by seeing clearly, by refusing to play the part assigned to you, by asking the forbidden questions. Why? Who says? What if that's not true? Is this even real? These questions dismantle entire illusions. Society isn't afraid you'll break the rules. It's afraid you'll break the spell. But here's the part people rarely talk about, the part that actually liberates you. Your depth isn't a curse. It's your compass. It's what protects you from empty relationships, from manipulative systems, from superficial pursuits, from losing yourself in places you were never meant to belong. You weren't designed for imitation. You were designed for insight, and that comes with consequences, but also extraordinary gifts. Because once you embrace your depth, instead of apologizing for it, something shifts. You stop chasing belonging. You start creating resonance. You stop trying to fit in. You start attracting those who recognize your mind, your heart, your perception. The world may not always understand you, but the right souls will feel you instantly, and that's enough. So here we are, back to where we started. Why does society destroy the deep thinker? Because depth disrupts illusion, because clarity threatens the system, because awakening spreads, and once it begins, it becomes unstoppable. But the beautiful secret is this: the world only tries to break what it secretly knows is powerful. You are not broken. You are not too much. You are not the problem. You are the one who sees, and that is your gift, your burden, yes, but also your undeniable strength. The next time you feel out of place, remember what we explored today. You're not meant to dim yourself. You're meant to understand why others fear your light. You're meant to stay awake in a world that keeps trying to go back to sleep. You're meant to think deeply, and so the journey continues.